The following program is suitable for general audience of any age. We would like to remind our viewers that the views expressed in this program by our participating guests are solely viewpoints of them who take part and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Derana Media Network.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Gen XYZ on Other Derana News Channel, and we are currently here at Berjaya Hotel in Mount Lavinia, and we are joining with a very special team of people. We have Dr. Gehan here as well, who is a professor and he has 2 doctor titles as well. Dr. Gehan, I want to let you explain who you are, what you do, and a little background information about what you do.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Gehan Damit, and I'm the Associate Dean for the Breed School of Business at Drury University, Missouri, United States. And also, I am an Associate Professor of Marketing. We are here today in Sri Lanka for the past few days, working on a study abroad program, helping our students to graduate on time. So this is a required piece for their entire journey, academic journey, for them to graduate. So that's why we are here today with this team in Sri Lanka.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gehan, for that lovely intro, and thank you so much for being here with the rest of the team as well. For the viewers watching out there, the reason they're here is actually very special because they're going to help out farmers who have been affected by elephant attacks. Now, it has actually been on the rise for a long period of time. So, and I think it's something that most Sri Lankans are actually aware of. And I want you to dive a bit into what the program specifically does, Dr. Gehan, because you said, yes, it's a necessary requirement for them to complete their university. But what exactly are the details? How do they help these farmers? What do they do? And how often has this been happening?
Right. Thank you for asking that question. I think for me to answer that question, I have to use the hierarchy as to how this entire thing is, articulated for a student to get involved with. Now, Drury has a wonderful vision that says we are creating or crafting global-minded students. That's one of the critical pieces in our vision. So in line with the vision at the upstairs in the institution, at the Breach and the School of Architecture, we have created these programs for students to take as a required piece for them to graduate. The reason why we are doing that is for 3 things. Number 1 is to craft a global mindset of our students, and also for them to understand how to behave ethically in whatever the place that they're going to operate themselves, helping those communities. And last thing is to identify the challenges in different cultures and then how they navigate through those difficulties to contribute to the society in a very efficient and productive manner. So what we do here is, this falls under study abroad program. We have a few study abroad programs that falls under that bigger umbrella. One is the long term, where our students go out and spend 1 full semester in a different country. Very immersive, they learn and then they come back. This is a short-term one, ranging from, say, 7 to 14 days kind of thing. I think this is about 13, something like that, 12 or 13 days kind of thing. In this one, we are focusing the service learning component, where our students will go and volunteer different communities. So I have chosen Sri Lanka to be one of them, and especially given this, time when everybody was talking about the human-elephant conflict and the coexistence, so we chose that area and to go and help the farmers who are very much affected by this, elephant attacks.
Yes, and Dr. Gehan, that was actually about to be my next question because this identifies itself as a humanitarian crisis, right? And I wanted to ask you what what was the moment that you decided that this was the demographic of people that you were going to help out? This was, you're going to pick this and sort of help out the farmers who have been attacked by elephants and who have lost their livelihoods and, maybe dear loved ones as well due to this issue. What made you choose this specific path?
Well, that's a great question. I am, being a professor, we always keep our eyes and ears open to news, and we identify the trends. So when the leadership asked me if I could design a program, when there are so many countries that I can think of, I thought Sri Lanka, because it was the time that we had a high discussion about this coexistence of human and elephant thing. So I thought this is the best time to take our students, because I, including them, myself as well, we came with an open mind to learn. And we came with the idea of elephant attacks. Now my lens has changed thanks to Professor Pilapitia. He explained it is not a kind of attack. It is the way how they have identified to manage things, share certain things. When somebody encroaches to my territory, how can I react to that kind of? So I wouldn't call it elephant attacks. It's a problem of misunderstanding of these two pieces in that area to live in a
coexistence.
Yes. There you go.
And as you said, yes, it's very evident because all of these paths that these elephants sort of go on, they've been traveling in those paths for centuries.
Yeah.
Right? And which is exactly why when people start making houses in the places that they've been walking through,
right,
it confuses them. So it's
That's
not
right.
really their fault
Correct.
either. So it's sort of about bringing conservation and humanity together to sort of help the people that are afflicted, but also at the same time making sure that the elephants are also safe.
Correct.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gihan, for that answer. I want to head over to my right, actually, to speak to a student that is engaged in this program. Laura, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
My first question to you is, what kind of relief efforts? Now, Dr. Gihan mentioned that you guys are helping out farmers and sort of getting their livelihoods back up. What exactly do you guys do in this program? How do you do it? And why did you choose this program?
Yeah, so when we came here, we knew we were going to be getting kind of into the service aspect, and I didn't really know kind of what to expect, but we went to these villages, we communicated with the people, and we just got to fully immerse ourselves kind of in the process and in what was happening, whether that was picking the green beans that we were going to eat for lunch, or sorting guavas, or kind of seeing more the production side and kind of the farming side, getting our hands dirty and kind of just in the environment. It's such an incredible experience, and it's not something that I feel like I've ever experienced and that most of us have experienced. And I think it really opens your eyes to just how much more there is.
Have you done other humanitarian efforts, or is this like your first experience into it?
I've done a little bit of kind of service projects, but this is really like a first time kind of experience for me, of getting back out there.
Is it because you work so closely with the people in the villages that were affected, or what was so different about this specific program?
I think just getting to really see how it is. You see photos, you see videos, but getting to really be there, and everyone was so welcoming to us, even though, they didn't know who we were. We're walking, down the road, and people would come to the driveways and just smile and wave at us, and just so friendly and so inviting. It's one of those kind of moments that really sticks with you and kind of leaves a lasting impression.
And I hope you had a great stay here
I had a great
well.
time, yes.
Thank you so much for that answer. I want to head to my left side. Now moving on to Jace here. My question to you is, now you've seen the stats as it was when you came here, right? Do you think over time, as you've studied this as well, and probably Dr. Gihan has provided information relating to this issue as well, do you think this issue of elephants versus humans, or rather affecting their livelihoods, do you think it has improved over the years, or do you think it has been stagnant?
I feel as if though recently it's been relatively stagnant. There has been, as Dr. Gihan said, there has been some attempts being made to improve the situation, but it is a misunderstanding until that communication error is fixed between the farmers and the understanding of what the elephants' habitats and what their behavior is truly like. I don't necessarily see much change happening until that bridge is filled, and that gap is filled.
And I actually want to ask you, because we are all a part of the youth, and I want to know what kind of advice can you give to maybe the youth who want to sort of mobilize change and really start making organic change to make sure there is an improvement in the situation?
First, become educated. Understand the problem. You need to truly inside and out understand what's happening, because if you don't, you will try to make change and you perhaps will take it in the wrong direction. And until you really immerse yourself into the problem, you won't understand it. So get out there, be a part of your local community, go out to rural communities, be a part of that community, listen to what those farmers have to say, and then talk to your professors, your university people, your experts on the matter, and then get informed and attempt to bridge that gap between those communities.
Create conversation, basically,
Yes,
and create awareness as well. Thank you so much for that answer. Dr. Gehan, once more, now since we spoke about the youth and what maybe they can do to mobilize the people, as a government or maybe as people in power, what can we do? What kind of actions can we take on a grand or mass level to make sure that this is either averted or programs like this are encouraged, and maybe more programs like this can actually sprout all over Sri Lanka, and then the community is sort of brought together? What can we do?
Yeah, actually, what I think is at this point the government should have a clear policy. That's where the whole thing starts. That policy should emphasize on the budgets, activities, action plans, so on and so on, the resources that they need. It could be locally that you're sourcing these resources, or knowledge or any other funding from outside. That's where the international relationship comes. So they need to pull all these strings together to get the best out of this program. And especially when wonderful students like this who are willing to come and help, and then by doing so, they are also creating a win-win situation where they learn and then they contribute as well. So I think government has a very heavy responsibility to take this seriously, to safeguard both human beings and the elephant as well, equally.
And has the government, as of recent, now we got an answer from Jace, who said it's sort of been stagnant in the recent years. Do you think it's because maybe they have implemented certain actions? Because in certain parts of Sri Lanka, they've actually started putting, electric fences, which is very harmful for the elephants themselves. But it has sort of made, a positive impact, if you can call it that. Right. When it comes to, the destruction of property, it hasn't happened as badly as it used to. So do you think, what are those things that maybe the government has done? What can they do to improve specifically? Maybe are there ways that, are there methods that sort of we can get the animals to, not disrupt the livelihoods of these people, but while also not having animal cruelty take place?
Yeah, sure. At this point, I think I have to acknowledge Dr. Sumit Pilapitiya, I think a great researcher who's spending a lot of time, money out of his own pocket without depending on the government's support. He's doing a great job. So I think government has to identify this kind of, experts and get the expertise, use the expertise to find solutions to this one. I think he was explaining that he's continuously researching to understand if some of the strategies that we use so far been effective, and he was thinking about moving forward to experiment different new strategies that goes beyond what we have so far, the electric fence and things like that. He was talking about how intelligent this animal is and how they learn to break through these certain strategies over time. So I think government should make use of these, professionals those who are into this and who has this passion to safeguard both animal and the human being kind of thing.
So what you mean by that, Dr. Gehan, is even if we can't mobilize the entire community because that's organic and that takes a lot of time to do, what we can do is mobilize specific individuals who are in a position and maybe who are able to help out until we can get the whole community together. And I actually want to do a deep dive into how the community can come together, how the youth can come together, maybe with programs like this, communities in Sri Lanka themselves, how we can come together to sort this issue out. Once again, you are watching Gen XYZ on Other Derana News Channel. We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to Gen XYZ. We are here with a team of university students from the University of Drury in Missouri, here in Berjaya Hotel in Mount Lavinia, alongside Dr. Gehan as well, who has arranged this whole thing and has brought the people here for a very special learning program that is actually required of them to finish their university, which I think is another great initiative, that people are sort of made to educate themselves on important topics that actually affect the youth and affect people around the globe. Thank you so much, Dr. Gehan, for the initiative and for being on the show as well. My first question I would actually like to go to you, Danielle, is I just want to know, what exactly have you guys been doing when it comes to mobilizing the community, maybe getting the youth, and anything that we can specifically get the youth to do to sort of help this issue out, help the people who are affected by it? What can we do?
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good question, saying that all of us are kind of in that generation and the youth. We've done a hands-on approach recently with our trip to Sri Lanka. We started doing a lot of farming, and so maybe the youth in Sri Lanka can help other farmers in their community around the area and really just like go to their neighbor and maybe help them plant for a day, or even just figuring out like how farmers work and what they really do from a day-to-day basis. And then not only did we work with farming, but we also did a lot with elephants and everything. So figuring out like how the youth or just the entire community can coexist with the elephants, because I know that is a big problem right now. So figuring out like what signs elephants give, and maybe to try and avoid them whenever they are like stressed or more like ready to attack, because as we've learned, elephants try to avoid conflict, and so just not engaging and trying to have the elephant come to the people and just avoiding them.
Because there have been a lot of videos where we see aggression from elephants, but we don't really see what prompted them to be that aggressive in the first place, when it's really sometimes people not being educated, like Jace actually said earlier on you know, how to deal with these animals, wild animals, and how to coexist with them. Is there anything specifically that you could tell communities themselves, like maybe villages, maybe people of Colombo, that can do to help out these people who are living in rural areas, not necessarily the youth, let's say the whole entire community? What can they do?
Mm-hmm. I would say just remembering to buy local, and like whether that's buying directly from a farmer or going to the farmer and again like helping them out, or like eating their fruit and vegetables versus like something that you get imported or anything like that.
Yeah, that's actually a good answer, because I feel like when they lose their livelihoods, making them financially you know, dependent isn't really what you should do. You should just get them back on their feet so they can you know, get back to what they were used to. Thank you so much for that answer, Dania. And I actually want to get to Jake over here, and I want to ask you, what really prompted you to you know, choose this program per se?
I think the idea that I didn't know what I was going to get into, and then just the unexpected, honestly.
And do you regret having made the choice? No, not at all.
Not at all. I think this has been a great experience, and I think a lot of us have said that the group has made the experience the best. but really just the environment that we're in and all the new things that we're seeing, and of course working with the farmers and learning about the elephants has made just this unreal experience.
And what have you learned, obviously, since you said you didn't expect to go into this sort of program? What have you learned over, time, and what can you maybe tell people to sort of start doing as a community, as the youth, whatever you want to call it?
I think what Danielle added on is if you want to help the farmers, you got to really prioritize them and understand the life that they live and how they work and how difficult it is that what they do. And the professor that we talked to, the elephant professor, talked about going out with them, spending the time with them at night when they're actually trying to ward off the elephants and helping them in any way that you can so that you do understand what they're going through, so that you know that it is difficult what they are doing.
So now the rehabilitation, sort of going back to normalcy after being affected by, let's say an elephant sort of destroyed their property or their livelihood, how have you seen them rebuild?
I think they're very resilient in the fact that they just keep going and they don't try to overdo anything. They try to keep it simple and they try to keep it consistent. And I think that that's what makes it simple for them and the way that they can keep doing it over and over.
So they know that it's going to happen again.
Exactly.
It's a matter of when, not a matter of
Right.
if. So anything else that we can do to provide them with the ability of maybe sort of getting back on their feet, or maybe providing them a stable place to live in so that they can, they don't have to be expecting these, disasters to happen. What can we do?
Right. Maybe in a sense like a community bank or a community place where if there is an attack that they can go and get the things that they lost, get the things that they need, the things that they won't have until they rebuild, and just giving them a helping hand in the time where they are very just unhappy.
Yes, and so like you said, it's not only financial.
Right.
It's also emotional,
Right.
and being there as a shoulder to cry on when they're actually going through these tough times.
Right.
Thank you so much for that answer, Jake. And heading back to Dr. Gehan, now since we were talking about emotional support, that is also something that I feel like we need to talk about. How have you, maybe with this program, maybe as an individual, how have you been helping them out in that aspect?
Helping them
Emotionally sort of recover from, how the way they were affected by these attacks.
The communities that are affected. Well, I would say it's a kind of a blessing for them to see our students with their smiley faces, ready to help them. And they never thought that there's going to be a team like this until our Sri Lankan partner, Mr. Mahendra, did that one. So being with them, that itself, sharing the soil together, helping them to do their crops and other activities, which for sure would have helped for them to be happy emotionally. That's what I thought, given that what we can do as a group of students who came from a different part of the country, world. Yeah.
And obviously, I want to now, since you touched on the fact that you all are coming from another country, it's a different sort of system altogether in another country,
Right.
Especially in the US.
Right.
What are some systems intact there, or maybe schemes there? For I know disasters of this nature is not
Right.
very common in
Right.
the US,
Right.
but in an instance like this, what would ideally be the response that USA has versus what Sri Lanka has? How can we bridge that gap?
Well, actually, being a dual citizen, I see both ends. I spent closer to 30 years of my life here and the rest in the United States. US is, in terms of planning, preparing for this kind of, disasters or unexpected situations, they're very well advanced. They know exactly what could happen. Their forecasting is very, very much pretty straightforward and precise because they have data. So the only thing that I see in Sri Lanka, we do not have a mechanism to collect data and use data to predict certain things. As a result, we do not have the right planning support from that. So I think if Sri Lanka can focus on data-driven especially I would like to emphasize that one with my second PhD coming from data science aspect. We need to have database and collect data all the time to see what's going on, to describe what's going on, and then to predict if any disaster there's going to be and how to minimize the damage kind of thing by utilizing certain government offices, resources to give them a kind of, cushion for them to mitigate the problem.
What are some emergency SOS systems that we have up in place right now in Sri Lanka? Obviously, we know that it hasn't been as effective in sort of, maybe predicting or preventing rather of these, disasters. But what are the emergency SOS responses that you know of, Dr. Kehan, that are in place right now?
Well, this is technically a very limited knowledge that I have. Based on that limited knowledge, I know there's nothing. There can be something that falls beyond my domain of knowledge, which I have not done any literature review or spoken to a few people or anything like that. But as far as I know, there's nothing, right? But in the US, they're well prepared. At least if there's going to be some sort of a disaster, they will
drills.
Yeah, they will let the citizens know about it, and they exactly point places where they can go for help, kind of thing. Here, the elephant comes and attacks due to some problem with the human being, and they have to suffer. Yeah.
And I think that's something that we also, now, because I want to know, now, we've been told, right, because we've seen these reports,
right.
The first thing that people are advised to do, and that's also the things that we find on, the advice we get is through maybe social media or the internet, not necessarily as like a national thing that we get.
Right.
But, what we've been told is basically drop everything and run right? But what happens when, someone dies as a result of this? Compensation, have they been receiving it? Have the communities been receiving these things? Have they been receiving help from not only the government, but maybe private institutions when it comes to financial aid for these relief efforts? Because as of recent, we've noticed, we've had a terrible cyclone hit Sri Lanka,
right,
where we lost hundreds of lives and livelihoods, right, destruction of properties. We're still actually undergoing the after effects of this disaster, and we saw communities come together,
right,
government initiate like SOS responses. Why isn't this being done for that?
Well, actually, I cannot generalize without having a decent number of data points, but based on the conversation I had with Mr. Jayantha in one of the farms that we had our activities, he said there's nothing, no support at all from the government. So I think that's something we need to think about seriously.
Dr. Gahan, do you think it's because people are prioritizing a certain, is it because people think more people were affected by the floods and people aren't affected as much, so they shouldn't care about it? Why do you think it's happening?
I think one is the scale of the damage compared to elephant attacks is very much larger, the cyclone, the flooding and things like that. And the other thing is the frequency. Now, elephant attacks have been in existence in the past so many years. So people have got used to listening to this. Oh, this has become something day-to-day kind of an activity for them. The cyclone and the flooding was, unexpected. It was a big hit, and so people would have thought, I don't know, this is a pure anecdotal, personal opinion about that. Probably they would have thought, okay, let's get together. This is something serious. We need to come out of this situation, kind of thing. By looking at both these situations, I guess we need to pay attention and have all the resources in place to manage both these types of situations to mitigate the damage, I guess. Yeah.
And I think ideally though, because this has been an ongoing issue, I think that should ideally be a reason why you should prioritize this problem more than things that happen all of a sudden.
Correct.
Not saying that any disaster is any less important,
Correct.
but humanitarian crisis is a humanitarian crisis.
That's right.
Regardless of the scale.
That's right.
And thank you so much, Dr. Gahan, for that answer. I actually want to talk a bit about the work that you have done, in the past, what you want to do in the future. Maybe you want to branch out into maybe a different area and help out a different set of people. And I want to dive all into that right after this short commercial break. You're watching Gen XYZ on Other Than a News Channel. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Gen XYZ. We are here at Berjaya Hotel in Mount Lavinia, joining with a group of very enthusiastic volunteers who have come down all the way from Missouri, from Drury University, alongside Dr. Gehan, who is their professor who's actually helping, organize this program, which is essential for them to graduate. And I think, like I said previously on our previous segment as well, this is the kind of education you need in terms of producing world leaders. Now, talking about world leaders, Dr. Gehan, how will programs like this, make leaders and help the economy and sort of bring in more opportunities for people to help out these affected parties? How can we do this?
Well, actually, the global mindset is all about being flexible, number one. The second property entailed in that construct is the ability to understand the surrounding environment and then identifying the challenges and how well you can navigate, kind of thing. That's what I would interpret as, global mindset in any part of the world, especially those who are going to work for a multinational company. This is the requirement. And in order to do that, in order to help our students get that experience, enhance their skill of dealing with all these leadership related challenges, we designed this program to take them to a place where they have never been, identify the environment and the challenges and also the opportunities to see how well they can connect their capabilities and with the opportunities, existing opportunities, and then and live productively, kind of thing. So that's the whole thing behind this one. So this goes back to my early days at Breach School of Business. As currently I'm charged as the associate dean to create these programs for our future students as well. At the moment, I have started with Sri Lanka because anyone who does international business or marketing, they will pick the area that they have the understanding first and then move into different markets as market development. So currently I'm developing Malaysia, India, Italy, France, Morocco, and Egypt. So these are some of the things for our future students. We are going to do that. Taking a little bit of extra step based on your question, I want to add this one as well. I have designed this program for three parties to call it a kind of win-win-win. Students will win with this experience. The institution, Breach or Drury, will enjoy seeing our students graduating with the expected global mindset. And Sri Lanka, wherever the location, especially talking about Sri Lanka, we are in a minimum manner, we are also impacting the Sri Lankan economy. When our students come and give a tip, it's for somebody else to spend money to buy their food on the table. So I think it's a kind of an opportunity for us for me to help all these three areas to make it a win-win situation.
And as a lot of very famous scholars have pointed out, to make a leader, they need to know his people. So the fact that these people right now, these students are gaining that understanding that, oh, there are people who actually go through things like that in different parts of the world.
True.
These are the issues that are facing. This
True.
is how the government is falling short.
True.
That is how they can maybe be better they don't have to lead governments.
True.
They can maybe start a business, whatever it is that they do.
True.
They will now have a better understanding. Thank you so much, Dr. Gehan,
course.
for that answer. I want to talk a bit more about what are these opportunities that maybe we can encourage, maybe global support when it comes to issues like this. Maybe not only in Sri Lanka, obviously there are other humanitarian crises
Right.
that exist around the globe. How can we garner support from the international arena for issues like this?
Sure. Now, let me take an example from the very closest neighbor, India. The program that I'm developing is right now, we are focusing on a coffee farming area where the labor is, misused. So we are going to help them while helping them to do their farming, we are going to learn how the labor is, misused in that area, and then it would become a kind of an opportunity for our students to learn, okay, how this labor component is, misused in different parts of the world, kind of thing. So this is the example that I can refer to right now. But going forward, for all the places, it's my responsibility to identify the right activity that our students can get involved with, that has, mutual benefit for both parties, and of course to change the perspective, the lenses of our students, the way how they interpret the world, kind of thing. So I'm being very careful selecting those locations to understand what activity our students are going to get and what's going to be the return for them.
And maybe we can actually garner international support and maybe bring funding into Sri Lanka to sort out issues like this. And as we saw, internationally, we actually garnered a lot of support for the cyclone, people that were affected by the cyclone. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure if this gets enough reach, if, awareness is created that there are other issues in third world developing countries that people face that maybe aren't talked about as much, maybe we can get some help from that as well.
Sure.
So thank you so much, Dr. Gehan.
Of course.
Moving on to Camden, I have a very interesting question. Now, since you are you consider yourself part of Gen Z. Yeah. And, what can we as people, obviously because the youth, we don't earn a lot of money, right? We don't have, like stable jobs where we can put funding. And like actually Lorelei mentioned in the first segment, we can maybe help out with, actually Daniel also emphasized, we can help with hands-on experience. What else can we do maybe from other countries to help out countries that are affected by things like this?
So I think awareness is a big thing. A lot of people don't know like what goes on the other side of the world is, in my opinion, one of the biggest things. Like a lot of people, when you tell them about Sri Lanka, don't necessarily know exactly what it is in the U.S. and stuff like that. So I think getting the word out there and just explaining what's going on, people are always open to help, but I don't think they realize what's going on. How
do you think that, obviously we can use the internet and social media to do it, how have you guys been doing it so far?
Yeah, so just as a trip and a group, everyone here has really liked it. I think spreading the word to friends and family and all, and what's going on here and how what we've experienced everyone here's everyday lives. I think it's really like word to mouth and everything like that. Just telling people around like what's going on, and it just spreads like that.
And you've had obviously a good experience.
Yes.
Do you think you'll come again?
I do. I'd really like to come back. We experienced it feels like a lot, but a very little part of the culture here. So I think it'd be a great a trip to come back and just see what else is on the island and everything.
What's something valuable you've learned from your stay here? Maybe not only from talking to the villagers who are affected, but something you've realized with the community in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, I think we take for granted a lot of the stuff that we think is easy in the U.S. and these guys are doing by hand with farmers, shoveling and doing all this stuff like that. They're doing it on their everyday lives. We did it for a little bit while we were here, and everyone was exhausted and tired, and these guys do it every day for 10, 12 hours a day.
So you've understood that it's really hard.
It's tough. It's tough.
And you've also done you've made that initiative to walk in someone else's shoes.
For
so
sure.
You have to be given credit for that, and all of you guys have to actually. And moving on to Riley, actually, the next question I wanted to ask was, how do we, now that we've maybe we're going to obviously spread awareness on topics like this, right? How can we bring the youth together and sort of maybe the future people who will essentially end up leading governments and making active policy decisions? How can we mobilize them to get to that place?
Yeah, so we got to meet with a ex-professor who now works with the elephants, and he taught us about the disconnect of the government being very one-sided and how we need to kind of listen to the people or listen to the researchers. So if we listen to it from a research standpoint, we should be able to get a lot more done than what we are getting done, at least for the subject of the elephants, for the example that I'm using right now.
Yeah, and so obviously these people, what were the grievances? I mean, because you said you have been talking to the villagers as well. What are the grievances that they've had? What are these pressing issues, or what are the most recurrent ones that you've heard around the village?
Yeah, so one of the big things we learned is the elephants follow the jungle, right? So we have these fences that go straight through the jungle, and an elephant doesn't know the difference between this side and this side. And if we listen to that from the researcher's side, and basically we're smarter about how we created these fences or any other sort of deterrent for the elephants, it would probably benefit both the people and the elephants significantly.
And I think maybe once we've established that fact, created awareness, maybe actually actively made changes, we can then help these people actively, live normal lives, or maybe somewhat normal. Thank you so much, Riley, for that answer. Dr. Gehan, one last question before we end today's program. I want you, maybe there are people who are affected who are actually watching this show, and what do you have to say to them? A word of encouragement, a message to the rest of the people who are watching who can help out. What else do you have to say?
Simply putting it, just come and help those who are affected. You don't need money. You can just come and just be with them, spend the time with them to support them emotionally. Those who have money, you can come and help. Those who have certain access to power, political power, reach out to politicians and help them, make them aware of the need for planning and policy setting to solve this problem kind of thing. So everyone from different angles can get engaged with this one. And I also would like to take this opportunity to invite, not only from US, it can be United Kingdom, Canada, you name it, Australia. They also can come and do the same thing. That will definitely benefit all the stakeholders related to this, associated with this project. Yeah.
And I think that's a great answer. And thank you so much, Dr. Gehan, for making sure this happens, because I'm sure everyone here has, they actually specifically said as well, they've had hands-on experience on how people are living their lives. It may be tiring for them as well, but they've learned to walk in their shoes. And thank you so much to all of you as well for taking the risk sometimes in coming here, not knowing what to expect, and sort of making the initiative. And maybe there'll be plenty of others that follow your example. So thank you so much for taking that first step and that giant leap of faith in Sri Lanka and the community, and knowing that just know that this we won't forget it, and that the community really appreciates it, and from the bottom of our hearts we're very thankful for that. And to all the viewers that are watching right now, I think if any of you can support organizations that are actually out here that are that want to help out other communities that are affected not only by this disaster, whatever it is, whatever small crises that people actually go through, you can do so. And also, thank you so much for being a part of the show. If you want to send in your feedback, you can always do so at feedback.adncenglish@derana.lk or via WhatsApp at 076-805-7933. But until then, we'll see you next week, same time, same place on Gen XYZ on other Derana News Channel. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
I was thinking about her, thinking about me, thinking about us. What we gon' be? Open my eyes, yeah. It was only just a dream. So I traveled back down that road. We should come back. No one knows. I realized it was only just a dream. I was at the top and I was like I'm in the basement. Number one spot, now she found her a replacement. I swear now I can't take it, knowing somebody's got my baby. And now you ain't around, baby, I can't think. I should've put it down, should've got that ring, 'cause I can still feel it in the air. See a pretty pretty face, run my fingers through her hair, my life.